Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And I, like many people, are absolutely deafened by the noise not coming out of the SNP over the Labour Party and its current trials and tribulations, shall we say. Because normally when Labour do something and the SNP don't like it, they're up there and they're barking at them, they're biting, they're shouting and saying, look what they've done, look what they've done, all these Labour people are terrible. And yet this time, silence. The silence is deafening. It is notable by its absence of any kind of complaint or moan or even a mention. And so you have to wonder why. Why are the SNP so reticent, so quiet, so deliberately not speaking of the unfortunate occurrences in the Labour Party? Well, it's probably because it doesn't fit the agenda given what's happened, and they don't want to highlight it given what's happened. They think if we can just ignore it and let it go away, that would suit them. But it won't, because we've noticed. Let's have a look to see why. For once, the SNP are saying nothing about what's going on in the Labour Party. Here goes. So the story really revolves around this guy called Azar Ali. He is a fat, ignorant, racist candidate for the Labour Party. Anti-Semitic, hates Jews, hates white people, hates a lot of things. And he's opened his gob and said something absolutely terrible. And then is complaining that Keir Starmer has ditched him. Finally, after a week, there was a suspension and an inquiry and blah, blah, blah. But the pressure kept coming. So in the end, Keir Starmer had to step in, show that he's a real leader, and ditch him as a candidate. A real leader would have ditched him like that. But not Keir, because Keir's not really. He's a bit wet, isn't he? He's a bit of a, if I do this, will I upset the Muslim vote? He's like that. So he's up his own arse a bit. But he's eventually admitted that he has to, and then he has. So this racist candidate for Labour is no longer the candidate for Labour, and now he's gone. But anyway, the SNP would normally, of course, be straight on that. Bang, bang, bang. Look at the troubles Labour's having. Oh, you can trust us. Not Labour. Labour are terrible. And, of course, they've kept absolutely quiet because this guy, A, is a Muslim, and B, has said things. What he said is what they agree with. And they don't want to be seen as bad and in the same light as this guy, even though it's exactly what they feel. So anyway, the SNP ignore Labour anti-Semitism row as Sir Keir Starmer finally ditches the racist Azar Ali as Rochdale candidate. The Nats don't normally need an excuse to have a pop at Labour, but no senior figures have bothered to mention the scandal that has thrown the Labour Party into disarray. Nothing on X, nothing on Facebook, nothing in any formal communications, nothing. It's been radio silence from the SNP, and one can only presume it's because they actually agree with Azar Ali. So Keir Starmer's botched handling of the Azar Ali scandal has been widely condemned by political opponents. Ali was finally ditched as the Labour candidate in the upcoming Rochdale by-election on Monday. It followed him being recorded at a meeting of the Lancashire Labour Party claiming Israel relaxed security before the Hamas attack of October the 7th, so it could use the attack as a pretext to invade Gaza. Keir initially stood by Ali, whose comments have been dubbed anti-Semitic and hateful and racist. No surprise there. But the party finally changed direction on Monday, claiming new evidence had come to light. They say that and yet present no evidence. What it is they've realised how bad it looks and they have to ditch him. Critics have accused Ali of peddling anti-Jewish conspiracy theories, while Sir Keir has faced accusations of double standards in his handling of anti-Semitism. And of course the Labour Party has a long history of being anti-Semitic, with Jewish members complaining for many, many years. Indeed, I wonder why any Jewish person would even join the Labour Party, given how anti-Semitic they truly are. For a party that claims to be, a far left party, they don't have sort of very far right views when it comes to racism and anti-Semitism. But hey, that's just the Labour Party for you. One huge writhing mass of contradictions. But despite concentrating its firepower on Labour in recent months, the SNP has remained silent on the issue. The Nats are facing a huge challenge from Labour in the polls and have started to attack the party even more than they criticise the Tories and the UK government, because the Tories and the UK government, of course, aren't the real challenge to the SNP. The Labour, which are on the sort of medium left, and then you have the SNP, which is on the extreme left, and then you have the Greens, which are like Marxist left. And they're all sort of competing for that left vote, which is fine, I suppose, if it splits the left vote. So who knows? Anyway, it's led to Stephen Flynn shoehorning Labour into questions at PMQs, while Hamza Yousaf has sought to claim there's no chance that Labour will not win the election. In a bizarre pitch to Scottish voters, he said this. He said he knows that Labour will win the election come probably October. He's given up. But despite the open goal, senior figures have not mentioned the Ali scandal. They could go in and say, oh, isn't it terrible what they're doing? Isn't it terrible? But they can't, because they agree with him. They agree with Asa Ali. Mr. Flynn has commented several times over the past few days on the situation in Gaza, and also pounced on comments by a Labour think tank boss who said smuggling gangs could be put on a barge and shipped to the north of Scotland. However, on his X account, there is not a single mention of Ali or Sakir's handling of the situation. The silence, like I say, is deafening. They don't want to mention it. They don't want to highlight it, because they know that they agree. This is the problem. It's their views as well. Especially with blessed leader, who's no longer in the country, but is busy in Qatar talking to Hamas. Obviously, with those sort of things, you don't want to be upset in the apple cart and complaining about anti-Semitism while he's sitting there with people who want to eradicate all Jews from the face of the planet. SNP leader Mr. Yousaf has also taken time out of his holiday in Qatar, meeting with Hamas in Qatar, to post about Brexit and the smuggling gang's row, and he's also continued to call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, but has made no mention of Ali. It's very strange. And the Nats have taken a firm anti-Israeli line at Westminster in relation to the conflict, because of course they did. The blessed leader said, oh no, we mustn't help Israel, we mustn't help the Jews. People down the mosque won't like that. In 2019, the party removed support for Neil Hanvey ahead of the December general election after he made anti-Semitic comments. However, he was welcomed back in 3 months after being elected the MP for Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath. Oh yes. So we have to do this, you understand, for the optics, but don't worry, you'll be back soon. Meanwhile, Sakir defended his position on Ali, saying he'd taken a tough and decisive action eventually when he realised how bad it looked, but not initially, because, hey, it's only Jews. The party leader had vowed to root out anti-Semitism within the party, and hasn't. And after allegations, it went largely unchecked under Jeremy Corbyn, another anti-Semitic Jew hater, a Marxist, communist, absolutely loathsome creature. And I still have this image of him naked in bed, apart from his little grey socks and his little grey pants around his ankles, as he's lying on top of this huge mound that is... even the picture of my head, that is Diane Abbott, and he's banging away, this tiny scrawny little man banging away on this big mountain that's Diane Abbott, and going, oh, and it's like Albert Steptoe, isn't it? Hope you're not having your lunch. Anyway, he said it's a huge thing to withdraw support for a Labour candidate during the course of a by-election. It's a tough decision, a necessary decision, but when I say the Labour Party has changed under my leadership, he says, I mean it, but your leadership will come to an end the moment you win the general election, and they'll oust you. There'll be a coup d'etat, and you'll have Angela Rayner in charge, and she's another one incapable of doing anything. But hey, Lesko couldn't read and write, and now she's the Prime Minister. God help us all. Coming up. Labour does have an image problem. It is an anti-Semitic party. It's been an anti-Semitic party for quite some time, and despite making claims that they're not, it's quite clear from this that they still are. And you're always going to have a party that's filled with anti-Semitic behaviour, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel behaviour, when you fill it with a particular group that are so dedicated to the erasure of all Jews from the planet. It makes you wonder why it's even tolerated. But hey, who am I to comment? I'll soon won't be here. Another 20 years and I'll probably be gone. But what a world we're leaving, eh? Filled with hate and division. And all because the Labour leader cannot show that he is a leader and make a stance and say, actually, anyone who joins Labour must agree that the Jews have a right to live. You must be Zionist. You must agree that the Jews should have a homeland. And if you can't, then find another party. That would separate the wheat from the chaff, wouldn't it? Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.